Hear ye. All right, kings and queens, settle down, grab a brew, get your biscuit, get your favourite blanket, or maybe sit in front of the air cooler with the way the temperature is at the moment in Melbourne, because we've got a belter today. AFL Paper Talk is back again, and we're talking everything from controversy, bit of footy drama, and plenty of reasons for the future for you to yell at your telly. So if you like a little bit of footy talk, you like a little bit of light-hearted views of the media, you're in the right place. So let's run that intro and get straight stuck in. Up first, we have AFLPA and serial moaner Patrick Dangerfield, who reckons AFL quarters need to be shortened now. Now, unless he means I can nip to the bar or grab a pie before last orders, I'm not really interested in this one. The bloke's played over 300 games and suddenly he's saying everyone's too knackered. What's next? Are we going to have half-time chairs and a cup of Horlicks? Now, I get it from Dangerfield's point of view. It's a rough game. They're running almost a marathon up and down, kickling, tackling, dodging dodgy umpire decisions who seemingly make rules up on the spot. But footy is meant to be a test of endurance, and we don't want it watered down. We saw the COVID years. We want to see people gasping for air. We want to see that fourth quarter where the legs are a little bit too heavy. That's all part of the drama and what makes winning the flag so special, that you have done that over 25 games. And if we shorten the game, what happens next? It's going to basically be rolling subs. We're probably going to have 5-a-side down at the local leisure centre. AFLX is going to make a return. Now, let's leave it at what it is. If the legs are going, that's okay, because we've got the rotations, we've got the unlimited bench, and let's see these young lads take over. Shorter quarters, for me, it's a bit of behave yourself, Dangerfield. Behave yourself, mate. If we're going to look at trying to speed the game up from a cinematic point of view, let's get rid of nominations. Let's get rid of all these 666 warnings. Let's get rid of all these little intricacies that have only really added time on. So for me, I totally disagree with this, but let me know in the comments what you guys and girls think. As always, we're open to discussion. Up next, the Adelaide Crows. They struck a deal with a university to whack their logo across it. Now, that's all well and good, but let's be real. Students really gonna splash what little money they have on beer merch. I mean, imagine this. I remember being a broke uni student, and you've got two choices. You either spend your measly 150 quid on a new jersey, or it's instant noodles for 6 months and maybe a couple of cheeky nights out. It's a tough call. Unless that jersey comes with a free years of tuition, I know what I'm picking. And let's talk branding. Uni life and AFL for me doesn't go hand in hand. One involves late night study sessions, budget meals, very questionable life choices. And the other involves, well, actually, the first one does sound a little bit like footy teams, doesn't it? Either way, sponsorships are about money. So fair play to Adelaide and fair play to the university. Hopefully that is a cohesive relationship. I think the big thing for Adelaide Crows fans, though, isn't jersey announcements, is can they break into the 8? And that is something that I'm really keen to see. But at least the players now have an avenue for higher education, right? Let me know what you think. Do you like it when institutions sponsor Guernseys, or do you prefer it when it's something a bit more extravagant that members can gain some access to? Let me know in the comments. We'll have a chat about it. Serious one next, Jamarra Ugle-Hagan. He's taken some time away from footy and he's on a modified training programme. And fair play to him. The pressure on young men in the world, not just footy these days, is absolutely unreal. 1 minute in football, you are a rising star. The next, you're copying abuse off a bloke off Twitter who's never played the game in his life, but he thinks he's the next Mick Malthouse. Now, I know people will moan and say, oh, back in my day, footy players, they got on with it. Back in their day, though, they were having broken noses from having a cigarette at half-time. Times has definitely changed, and players are more under the spotlight and the microscope than ever. Years ago, players could probably just go around Melbourne or Adelaide or Perth and kind of be almost anonymous and part of the community. Nowadays, phones, texts, Reddit, everything you do is under the microscope, and the speculation from when these players take a step away to work on their mental health, something that we should be imploring every young male and old male and woman as well to do and look after yourself, suddenly becomes questioned and rumours and innuendo. Jamara is a gun and the doggies need him firing. And you know what? The AFL does as well, because we want these young kids bursting onto the scene and playing their dreams in front of us. But mental health comes first. He's going to step away, get himself right. Footy will be here and it will always be here for him. So let's be honest, I'm sure the Bulldogs fans and the AFL fans join me and say we want him back out there as soon as possible, destroying the goals, and we wish him all the best. So Jamara, mate, wish you all the best, mate. Can't wait to see you back out there. Right, imagine being the son of a footing legend, having all the connections in the world, and then somehow you decide that nicking just under 150 grand is a good idea. Absolute madness. Well, son of legend dipper Dylan has been done for fraud, and honestly, this is almost home and away levels of storyline. Imagine being at the Christmas dinner, your dad there, you're at the dipper household, pass the gravy, son. Nah, dad, can't. I'm doing time for fraud. Now, footy's all about second chances, unless you're an umpire, in which case you get like 500 chances to mess up the holding the ball decision. But stealing from your own employer, yeah, you've heard it right, that's what he did. Now, I really hope he gets himself sorted, and this is really embarrassing from Dipper because he's a great human being and he's provided so much entertainment for me. But it's a tough one, isn't it? It just shows you how you can have that celebrity and be born into luxury and still make bad choices. But an interesting little turn of events, this one. Brisbane Lions, it's usually this stage we've got Geelong, who are sniffing around, and Geelong have been linked with many players already at this stage of the season. But the Brisbane Lions have been said to be sniffing around Oscar Allen like seagulls sniffing your chips. West Coast fans, if you thought last season was rough, imagine starting this season and hearing that one of your best young players is potentially on the move. It's like dropping your pint in the first 5 minutes on a Friday night. Now, Oscar is a jet. He's really been a strong feature of the forward line. He's had his injuries, but this year you really look at them and think this could be it. The Waterman-Allen combination. This is our forward line for the next 7-8 years. But Brisbane, we've no Joe Danaher. They're sniffing the market. And they really do need a focal point up forward. It's going to be interesting this year how the young forward line with Hipwood and Day maybe pinch hitting is going to look. But you would have to say Oscar Allen slots in nicely. But can they actually get him? Well, West Coast, they're going to play hardball. Brisbane, they're probably going to throw money at him. It's going to be an interesting one, this. If I was a West Coast fan, I'd be literally hoping this doesn't happen because I think he's a key cog for that. Because if they lose him, well, it's going to be tough to find someone because we know these players develop so late. West Coast fans, let me know what you think. Brisbane fans, do you want him? We'll have a discussion about it. Collingwood fans, take a deep breath. AFL fans, take a deep breath. Fantasy fans, take a deep breath. Nick Daicos is going to be fine, but we know everyone in Collingwood shirts are planning a candlelight vigil at the Holden Centre, but the golden child is on the mend. He's had a bit of a foot issue, and this is a big part of football when you are playing football. The clue is in the name. But word is he's smashing rehab, and he should be ready for round one. Collingwood without Daicos is, to me, like a Sunday dinner without a Yorkshire pudding. It's missing everything that I really want from it. He's the bloke that makes them tick, so get well soon, Nick. We want him in this league. I'm a firm believer that I want the best players out on the park week in, week out. The Pies are going to need him if they are looking to really rise back up into the 8, which I think they will. Let me know, though, Pies fans, if Nick Daicos was out, who would be the interim stopgap in that side? Now, this one is a wild one, like an absolute wild one. Imagine winning not 1, not 2, but 3 Brownlow medals. Then imagine that you go up into the attic and you can't find them. You're flicking through eBay and suddenly you see them. That's exactly the kind of scenario that happened to the great legend Ian Stewart. It almost sounds like a shit plotline from a Guy Ritchie movie. Who's out nicking Brownlow medals and how do they go missing? What's next? Someone selling Gary Ablett Jr.'s left boot on Gumtree? Like, AFL memorabilia is a serious multi-million-dollar business. So these kind of things happen. But if you win a Brownlow, you would imagine that these things are locked up under lock and key, especially how valuable they are. Hopefully, Ian Stewart's reunited with him because, like, you know what? It's a life work. It's a life work. So hopefully they're found and hopefully the culprits are apprehended. Saints fans, look away now. Not only was Dougal Howard injured this morning, he's going to miss 3 months of football, but Rowan Marshall, their key ruck and potential forward line, looks like he's a doubt for round 1. And this is about as welcome as a still frozen microwave meat pie from the G. The big fella has been carrying the ruck load for St Kilda for what feels like an eternity since Ryder retired, and the bloke literally has gone down at the worst possible time. The Saints midfield, though, is bolstered by Harry Boyd coming in, who can play ruck, and that might be an early start and get a good look at him. But it's going to be a real struggle, isn't it? He's their rock, he's their go-to. It's going to be almost as tough to control that midfield as it is handling your kebab at 3 a.m. He is about the only ruckman on the list that, to me, looks like could be the point of difference. The club's staying tight-lipped on how bad it is, which probably means it's worse than they're letting on in my experience. But I am a Carlton fan, so I do look at the negative all the time. But we know the drill. Justin Niggle turns into out for 8 months. Let's hope it's not serious, though, because St Kilda really do need him, and you don't want a shoddy start in 2025. Saints fans, let me know your fears. AFL announce, as always at this time of year, that everything is coming up Millhouse. Last season, they set a record for home and away, with over 400,000 people turning up to multiple rounds. That's more people than Black Friday. That is insane, and they are all there to enjoy our great game. The game, according to them, probably in reality has never been bigger. Fans are turning up in droves despite ticket prices and the price of food and everything at the G. Trying to find a car park there is mental, and really the only tears that we're seeing at the moment is from your wallet. But let's be real, people love the football. It's still a key part of culture and everyday, day-to-day life. And it's a great thing, really, for the world, that in a world where we're starting to become more homebound and more online, that the game still has so many people there. It's brilliant to see that the stadiums are full, big atmospheres, and there's nothing better than the packed G, is there really? The roar of the crowd, the feeling that anything can happen, even if anything means a 50-metre penalty for dissent. Here's hoping 2025 continues to go from strength to strength, though maybe not without so much of the beer prices that are rising and the food, because at the moment it looks like you're going to have to pay them. Chad Warner is in the papers because he bought a house in Applecross, Perth, which, if you Google, is 17 minutes away from Freo HQ and West Coast HQ. Now, it's a convenient bit of real estate, and it really makes the narrative going into the season very interesting. Is this a sign he's coming over? Has he chosen the Dockers because it's only 16 minutes and 0.2 there? 17 minutes, 0.4 from Eagles. But he is renting the property out, so this is obviously an investment. But one thing's for sure, it's set the football world talking. And you know what? A young AFL star planning for the future is something that actually brings a tear to my eye, because at times it feels like that they are got all the money in the world and they do nonsense with it. It's going to be a really interesting one, though, of what happens from now till the end of the year, because obviously Chad Warner is a big name that has been linked. I personally think he leaves to Perth, but it's good to see the kid start on the property ladder and get himself set up. Let me know what you think. Do you think that this is a sign that he's leaving? Or do you think it's just purely he's protecting his future assets? Right, that's your lot, you dirty lot. Let's hope you've enjoyed this. If you did, make sure you hit the like, give us a subscribe, drop a comment on what story you really enjoyed or what you've got your take on. And let me know if you've had anything else come up in the news that you'd like me to discuss. Cheers for watching. Look after yourselves. Peace, love and light. Till the next one. See you later.
Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.